All right, everyone, welcome to Cigars and Land Investing Business Life. We're going to cover it all. Welcome to our villa in Bali. We're back home. And I'm excited to spark this up with you guys. We're going to go super deep. We've got a lot to cover here today. I'm going to reveal some secrets that I've never revealed. First off, though, I want to let you guys know, every single month we are filling up the 15 slots inside of LEA. If you guys don't know what LEA is, it's our 12-month land investing group coaching program. That's got the craziest guarantee. 6 figures in gross pipeline profit in 12 months. And if we don't achieve that with you, we'll work with you for free until you get there. It covers the full gamut, how to find the best markets, how to price markets, how to talk to sellers, how to do big deals that net you 20, 40, 50, 100K per deal. Super cool stuff. So go to the link below, landinvestor.co/apply if you guys want to check it out. And seriously, every month we are filling up those 15 spots. So if you want to get in for November, now's the time to consider doing it. On that call, we'll show you the full kit and caboodle, how it works, full 9 yards. All right, guys, I want to reveal something super exciting. So I'm coming out next month, November 21st, we're releasing the Land Insights data platform. And I'm going to share with you guys kind of the quick hitters list of what's inside this platform. Now, there's a lot. There's some things that I won't touch on here, but I want to just give you guys kind of the quick hitters, what you need to know. What's cool is happening on November 21st. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. We're doing a 6-hour live stream. Cigars, maybe some whiskey. I haven't drinking in like a year and a half, but we're going to celebrate because a lot of work has gone into this launch. If you guys don't know, it's an unlimited data platform. We also have an a la carte option for our members. You have to be a Land Insights user to get access to the data platform. It's the best data, the cheapest data, and it's got a crazy amount of feature sets that stack on top of it. So let me give you guys a very quick hitter, okay? So inside the data platform, you're going to have the quick search option. Obviously, look up parcels by GPS, APN, owner, any of that stuff. It auto completes, which is really cool. Filter and export parcels. Polygon filters, including exclude polygon. So you can do an include and an exclude polygon filter. Most tools just allow you to do the include and no exclude. Parcel due diligence. So all the stuff you'd expect in any due diligence type mapping, that's all inside there. It really is kind of merging a lot of the different tools out there and nesting them under one umbrella. The business model for Land Insights is like Costco, right? You pay your $500 a month subscription and you get just a litany of benefits, both free and then some heavily discounted features. View previous exports, set up scrubbing jobs when exporting. So inside the data platform, you can go and queue up your scrubbing jobs. If you're pulling data from the platform, it's free landlocked scrubbing, and then 50% discounts on all of our other scrub features, flood zones, wetlands, and all the future scrubs that are being released. You can set up skip tracing jobs while exporting. So you can have this stuff happening all from the data platform, queue up your skip tracing, queue up your scrubbing. As it stands now, most tools, you're like taking it from one tool to this tool to this tool and reformatting your Excel sheet, and it's a mess all in one place, just a few clicks of the button and you're good to go. We skip only clean data after the AI is done scrubbing, okay? So you'll say, hey, I want to keep this up. Our AI machine will go through and scrub the data for you, remove all the bad properties. Then automatically it'll push into the skip tracing once it's been pre-scrubbed, so you're not pulling skips of properties that you would never want to buy. All the classic data layers, county, zip codes, wetlands, flood zone, sold, active, pending, MLS comps. This is a huge one. So inside the data platform, you can literally overlay the MLS comps. So let's imagine I'm looking at a little zip code or a subdivision. There's 1,000 properties in there. I can go overlay the sold, the active, the pending MLS comps on top of that and say, cool, there's 1,000 properties in this subdivision that I'm thinking about targeting. And here's the 50 comps from the last year. Bam, overlaid. Inside of LEA, we have a thing that we used to teach called the Google My Maps pricing strategy. It's still inside the content. I would say not that many people use it. It's pretty advanced. There's essentially like Google My Maps pricing all within the data platform, just as a simple overlay, which is really cool. Building footprints, so we're building an AI detection machine, essentially machine learning, I guess, that goes and detects building footprints. If you've been in this business for any amount of time, you know that a lot of times you'll put in, hey, show me properties that only have 100 to 500 square feet or 0 to 500 square feet to try to remove the building. But in a lot of cases, there's still buildings that show up. And so we actually detect the footprint of the building on top of the parcel beyond the county assessor's information. You can use the county assessor's information, but our machine learning tool actually looks out for the map and sees the footprint in the building and will flag that for you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to remove them, but this is kind of like an additional layer of protection. There's been many campaigns where I get like 1,000 pieces of data and there's like 150 houses in there that I wouldn't otherwise want to market to, because in some cases, these third-party data tools, they don't like the filters don't integrate well with an assessor information, and there can be misinformation there. There can be all sorts of weird things that happen. And so in this case, the source of truth would actually be using the satellite imagery to find the building footprints. Again, it's a very subtle feature. It's not like, oh, this is a do or die feature, but what you'll notice about the Land Insights data platform is there are dozens of features like that you would only have awareness on if you were a real land investor. If you're not in the land investing business, you would never think to add something like that because it seems irrelevant, but you know these problems well when you've been in the trenches for a long time. And this is, in my opinion, this is like the first real serious data tool truly built from the lens of like professional land investors. There's been a few fits and starts and other tools out there, but to me, they're just kind of a continuation of the same stuff that already exists. They're just kind of a remodeling or a slight reshifting of the tools that are already in the marketplace. They're not novel, they're not innovative, and frankly, they probably don't have an army of smart developers that are also land investors working on this stuff, and it just tends to show, in my opinion. Map layer, satellite view with 3D view, street view. One of the things that we use all the time in our business is the street view. So when we're doing initial due diligence of a parcel, so we drop a pin, we go look at the street view. There's a lot that we learned that way. Far too many people don't use the street view feature. It was hard for us to get that in there, but it was a need to have for us, and absolutely not. Obviously, ability to save filters for future use. Click property for due diligence. Okay, so optimize for land acquisition teams. See when they bought property, how much it was bought for, what type of deed, etc. So just a really quick toggle. You can click on this property. It'll give you essentially the report that you would need to answer all of the acquisition questions that we talk about in LEA before we make our first call. So we've got a fact-finding process. When a new lead comes in, before we make that call, there's a few things that we need to verify. This is literally tailored and optimized for that. You don't have to go poking around in a bunch of different places. You don't have to pay for reports like some of the tools make you do. It's right there. Bam. Everything I need to know. So, hey, it was bought on a quit claim deed 20 years ago. It was bought on a treasurer's deed. Like all that information that you want to bring to that first call is right there. Inside here, you can see the STR metrics for similar properties. Example, if it's a 6 acre, you can see the 1 year sell-through rates for the 5 to 10 acres while you're doing your due diligence. How cool is that? No one else has access to that data. And so you're gonna see market statistics and market trends for every property that you're looking at. It's incredible. You'll be able to see if it was the land was a family transfer. So was this an inter-family sale or an inter-family transfer, which is important in my opinion. See if the property's in an HOA, see owner and parcel details. In Tool, we also have a ruler to measure the dimensions of the property. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, you guys have to keep in mind that this is V1. We've been working tirelessly on this. We've got 3 engineers, the back-end engineers, 1 front-end engineer. We've got a full-time designer who's actually helping with the UI and the interface of the tool. A lot's gone on into this. We've poured ungodly sums of hours into it, but even with this release in November, for us, it still very much feels incomplete. And there's a million things that are either being worked on currently that won't be in this launch, or things that we haven't started working on, but we know that we will work on or will add in eventually. So yeah, super excited about that. All right, guys, let's crack into this. I'm gonna spark this thing up. If you guys like these videos, would mean the world if you gave it a like, a comment, a subscribe. It helps the algorithm, it gets it out there. I never really asked for that stuff, but it seems to work when you do ask for it. So why not? I'm gonna ask for it. Oh, shucks, let's hope this ladder didn't die. Oh, dag nabbit, here we go. This is a little Indonesian cigar. There's like these little gas stations here. They're kind of like a nicer 7-Eleven. And they actually sell pretty good cigars there. And so I just buy them there. I'll go buy coconut water before I work out. They've got these little small Indonesian cigars. They're called Wiz Milak. I'm definitely saying that incorrectly. But yeah, about a $6 cigar. Kicks the pants off any $6 cigar you never buy in the States. And it's the right size for me. I don't like smoking a huge cigar very often. I like just a small little nimble son of a gun, which is that's what this is. Now, you might see Sarah in the background. That's okay. We're hanging out at the villa. We're lounging. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the personal stuff that we're going through right now. What's interesting, though, first off, we had our event 2 weekends ago. It was amazing. It's life-changing. A lot of people gifted me cigars to the event, which is like so cool. And if you were one of those people, seriously, thank you. I smoked all of them. They were awesome. It means the world. But one of the funny things people kept on asking is like, Summer, can you buy cigars in Bali? I bet you can't get good cigars there. It's probably hard to get them. Someone even asked, can I mail you some cigars? Truth is, dude, the cigar game here is amazing. I can get the highest class Cuban cigars. I mean, cigars that are thousands of dollars in some cases. You can find them here. And you get them delivered to your doorstep for no extra charge. They don't even charge you for the delivery. They'll bring it on the scooter and drop it off to your doorstep. So yeah, cigar game is strong. I haven't ordered any of those recently, but for more of these videos for the launch next month, I'm going to get something really fancy. I'll spend a couple $100 and get like a really fancy Cuban for that launch. All right, guys, so we're back in Bali. I want to talk to you guys about this just really briefly, because we're getting a lot of questions from folks that say, Sumner, either I want to do the same thing, how did you do it, how did you pull it off, what's the schedule look like? They want to know like the economics, like what does it cost to have a house here or a house like this or Airbnbs and whatnot. And then I've had a lot of folks here that want to come visit me, so we'll talk about what that might look like here in a second. So okay, let's look at this like no matter how much money you're making in the land business, once you're like a year or two in, you should be doing probably low six figures or maybe a little bit more. At that time, you really do have the autonomy to get up and leave. And that might be one of the biggest blessings you have from this business. Honestly, it comes with a ton of mobility. As long as you can set up a system to have power of attorney for someone to sign your documents for you, you're pretty much good to go. As long as you're closing with title companies, you're keeping it really easy, you're delegating that work off, you're not going and sending checks to the county recorders to record deeds and whatnot. Really, the whole system can be delegated and you can be pretty much anywhere in the world. And the beautiful thing is like, once you're at that scale in this business, it's really consistent on the macro, okay? So year to year, like your income shouldn't swing wildly. In fact, that you kind of continue to grow if you're putting in the right inputs. But month to month, this business is lumpy, and anyone that's in this business knows that. But I really think that once you're a year or two in, you've seen some success, you've got some progress, you're in a really safe position. In fact, I think you're more secure in that position than you are in a job. I think a lot of folks, they delay making that jump because it feels irresponsible or they feel scared their business is going to crumble or what if things change. And I want to let you know, in my experience for myself and working with hundreds of people at this point, on the macro, this business really doesn't change, okay? So if you're a few years in, you're doing well, I would say, look, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities, make that jump. One of the best decisions you might ever make in your life, seriously. So let's talk about what the logistics look like living here. So first off, I sold everything I owned. We had 4 cars at one point, but we sold 3 of them. So got rid of 3 cars, left our house. We were just renting, left our house, got rid of, I would say about 90% of the things that we owned. We got like I don't even know, it's a really weird dimensions. It's probably like a 3-4 foot wide storage locker. Maybe it's like 6 feet deep and it's like 15 feet tall. It's like the weirdest dimensions. So that's all we've done. Put all of our stuff in there. We packed our bags and moved everything in one suitcase. We came here for 2 months. We were just renting Airbnbs. We were just renting Airbnbs because we were trying to figure out where we wanted to live. There's a lot of different communities and different vibes and different places. And so we bounced around. We found the exact spot. So the area that we're in is called Prairnon. It's right outside of Canggu. And that's our dojo. That's my favorite spot. It's got the perfect vibe of like great food. There's an energy there, but it's not overwhelming. There's no nightclubs. It's not super crowded with tourists. And it's got really great beach access. So we're in between an little town called Sese and Prairnon. So it goes Canggu, Prairnon, Sese. Sese is kind of the outskirts. And we're surrounded by rice fields and it's quiet and it's beautiful and there's lots of amazing nature and geckos running around everywhere. And so this is really our vibe. So right now we're renting an Airbnb. It's beautiful. It's 2 bedrooms. It's not huge, but it's obviously very pretty. It's about $110 a night, I think. And what's funny, when we first got here 3 days ago, we had flown, it's about 30 hours to travel to get here. So it's a mission, right? We're exhausted. We get to the Airbnb. Sarah's in the bedroom. I go into the kitchen right there. I go to grab a glass. There's this huge cabinet. It's probably like 7 feet off the ground. It's pretty high. It's kind of like above my head. And I open it, and it's probably about 5 feet long. It's a really big cabinet, big wood cabinet. I open it. I go to grab a glass, and as I open it, the whole thing falls. But it's like this slow motion fall off the shelf. And it's got this tiny little shelf that it's sitting on, and it was like bolted into the wall. So the bolts came out. So this thing is like falling over on me, and I catch it like this, and I'm like, Sarah! Sarah, and she's in the shower. She can't hear me. So I end up being in this position for 15 minutes holding this thing. Sarah, it weighs a ton and it was too high. Like, there's no way that Sarah could help me bring it down. So we had to get the Airbnb staff to drive, about 15 minutes to get here. And me and this guy took this whole entire shelf off the wall. It was crazy, or this whole entire pantry cabinet thing off the wall. It was crazy. It was like within our first few minutes of being here. Yeah, there's definitely funny oddities like that being in a developing country. There's all sorts of funny things. It's very much, for me, it feels like people come first. It's very people oriented, and some of the minor, smaller infrastructure details that don't matter as much. So anyways, amazing Airbnb despite that. This place is so well furnished, so well designed. About $110 a night. We're staying here for 2 weeks. And I want to break down some interesting economics for you guys because I think it might be interesting. So we're touring houses today. We're touring 3 houses today, something to kind of find like a long-term lease with. What's really weird is the long-term year leases aren't really a thing here. They're not very popular, and typically you have to pay the full amount up front. So the houses that we're looking at for a year lease are about $50,000 to maybe $70,000 a year. They're super nice houses in great areas. You can definitely find things that are way cheaper than that. But what I didn't realize is they want all that money up front. Now it is negotiable, but they want all that money up front. So I get to thinking, I'm like, this seems kind of crazy, right? On the flip side, you can do what's called like a leasehold or a freehold, essentially where you own a property for 25 or 35 years. And so those houses are going to go for about $250,000 to $400,000 for 25 to 35 years. Depends, each one's a little bit different, but I'd say the average is about 30 years. So when you break it down, you could be getting that place for, call it $10,000 a year annualized, or you could rent it for $50,000 a year and pay $1.5 million over the full life cycle of it. So I think we've got to come to the conclusion that we're going to, in quotes, buy or do a long lease opposed to doing the annual lease, because the economics just don't really make sense. And even though it's probably not going to be a forever home, like we probably upgrade and get something nicer down the line. I don't want to spend a ton of money. Like I think going and dropping $1 million in a house seems reckless when we haven't even been here for more than a few months and we don't know what the future holds. Well, what you can do is you can go and park that thing on Airbnb. And based off what I'm talking to the people here, they say it's about 20 to 25% cash on cash returns. You don't use bank financing, so there's not much leverage, there's no leverage. And it's all on market. It's very different from the land business. So yeah, kind of fascinating. On the flip side though, I had a friend that came to visit us, Coach, who's inside of Leah. He got a spot for $10 a night. So like it really runs the gamut. And if you get outside of the main populated areas, I mean, you can find studio apartments for $150 a month that are sparse and simple, but it really runs the gamut. Talking too much. This thing keeps on getting unlit. So let's talk about the schedule. What does that actually look like? Now, for me, it's actually the perfect schedule. We wake up at about 3:30 to 4:30 a.m. pretty much every day. And we typically work for at the least 4 hours, at the most, maybe 7 to 8 hours. And so you're talking about being done by 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you've got all of this time. And the weirdest phenomenon happens because the Western mind is so conditioned to filling free time with work whilst being in working hours or being in the middle of the day. You have a very strange thing that happens where it's 1 p.m. All my team and clients and everyone's already asleep, so no one's reaching out to me. And you've already worked for 8 hours, and so you feel accomplished, but you've got another 5 or 6 hours until the day's done. And that's so fascinating because there's this little guilty side of the Western brain that's been conditioned to say free time always has to be equated to productivity. And you feel this weird guilt, and it's very strange. And again, good problems to have, but like you almost need to unwind that and let that go. And one of the beautiful things about moving somewhere new, in my experience, I've done a lot of moving in my life. Like as a kid, I lived in probably close to a dozen different houses in different parts of our county. As an adult, I bounced around a lot. Like every 2 to 3 years, I tend to move, and it's usually out of like personal reasons. I get a lot out of it. And one of the things that I get out of it is this feeling of being a clean slate, and being to consistently reinvent myself. And I've gone through so many iterations in who I am as a person. My characters pretty much remain the same, but who I am on the exterior has gone through so many evolutions. And maybe even my character has changed as well. And so when we came here during the summer of this year, that was a real like, whoa, tripped me up, and it kind of messed me up. As silly as that sounds. But as we've come back here, I've really been deliberate of like, I'm rewriting my story. I'm rewriting who I am as a person. And I'm using this opportunity as a clean slate to reinvent myself in a lot of ways. So how am I doing that? Well, first off, I'm reinventing myself by dedicating time every single day to meditate. Now, this has been a really interesting point for me. I'm extremely fascinated by all things esoteric, religious, spiritual. It's what I spend a lot of my time studying and thinking about and playing with, whether it's reading the Bible or reading the Emerald Tablets, or I'm always tinkering with that stuff. I find it so interesting. I think that we've moved into a stage in the human story where we're very material, we're very reductionist, we're very logical and pragmatic and science and evidence based. And we've lost a lot of what it means to live a spiritual life. And so while it's been an interest of mine, I've always had a really hard time sticking with a consistent meditation routine. Now I do breath work and I create little pockets of mindfulness in my life, and I have some awareness around that. But dedicating 20 or 30 minutes every day consistently to meditating has always been a challenge. Now, I'll go through seasons. I'll go through a season where I keep it up 5 days a week or 7 days a week for a 4-week or 5-week stretch. And then life happens, right? Something like derails me. I get caught up in problems or stories or things, and I lose that habit. And I haven't got to a place where that habit has absolutely stuck. And so now that I have this ample free time, there is no excuse. There's no one hitting me up at those hours. There's no one trying to pull my attention away. And so it's one of the things that I'm rewriting with this story. I'm rewriting that. The next area that I'm rewriting is communicating in my relationship, getting better at communication. The weird thing is, I think I'm pretty good at communicating with people, but when it comes to really close family, really close friends or partners, I can be avoidant with some of that stuff, especially when it comes to problems. Now, a lot of that's rooted into childhood stuff. I won't go into it, but it's an area that I want to get better at. When things bubble up, get in front of it, be proactive about it. And I would do the same thing for team members. I do the same thing for clients. I would do the same thing for anyone that's a few layers removed from me. But for whatever reason, when it comes really close, that's a really big deal. And I want to get better at it. Again, I've got ample time to improve myself. And so right now I'm in a season of self-development. It's not about strategies. It's not about new things in the business. It is about my personal evolution, because I know that it'll have a ripple effect and impact and influence every other area of my life. The next area is Sarah and I are getting into a new chapter in our relationship, right? Getting engaged in marriage and having kids is getting closer and closer and closer. That stuff is all on the table. And so this is also a season for us to improve our relationship, to become better partners, to become better people individually, so we can show up for each other better and better and better. And we already have an amazing relationship, but there's always room for improvement. Our rule of thumb is every day, we need to be trying to win each other over. We need to try to one-up each other. Like she did this, I want to do even better for her. I want to rise to the occasion for her. I need to communicate better. I need to bring more positivity, more exciting intellectual curiosities to our relationship. I want to physically put my best foot forward. I want to get haircuts on time. I want to shave. I want to be my best self for my partner. I want to make sure that I'm lifting her up. I want to make sure that she always feels like I'm her greatest supporter. I'm her champion. I'm her cheerleader. I'm her biggest fan. I want to be able to talk about hard things with each other. And again, we already have a lot of that, but I want that to be at the forefront. And I think a lot of the work that needs to be done there is less about our relationship and more of the interpersonal work to show up better in our relationship. The next thing, I want to learn more about the culture in Indonesia. I want to learn more about the culture here in Bali. I want to become steeped in Eastern traditions. I want to become steeped in worldviews that are different to what I've been exposed to, where I've grown up to. There's so much beautiful mysticism and history and depth to the culture here in Bali and in Southeast Asia in general. That's the East versus the West whole dichotomy. And I want to actually be a student of that. We've made some amazing local friends here, and one of the friends that we made actually picked us up from the airport when we came here. And just the love and hospitality here is unmatched. We've literally found a family of a tribe that's essentially adopted us as their Western family and has taken us under their wing and has helped find us motorcycles and houses and has hooked us up with everything that we needed and has made this place feel like home for us. And they invited us to come up to their village and spend the weekend with their family in their village, the way life used to be here, to go fishing in the ocean, to catch mahi and tuna together, to live how they grew up, and to experience a way of life that's slowly getting pushed to the wayside and being eradicated, sadly. And the weird thing about being a foreigner here is you are part of that change. There's gentrification and change happening, and I'm a part of that, and that pains me. And I also want to be a student of their culture. I want to learn about their way of life, and I want to make sure as much as possible I don't encroach in that, and maybe I can even help protect that to some degree, because it's so beautiful. There's an amazing documentary that I haven't started yet, but I've read a lot about, and I'm trying to find it here on the TV setup. They have a smart TV. It's called The Ring of Fire. It's about mysticism and ancient traditions in Indonesia. Again, this country is steeped in beautiful ancient traditions, and it's a really cool documentary that kind of covers all of that stuff. I highly recommend it. I think you can find it on Amazon Prime. And part of that is I also want to learn the language. You can learn Balinese, but more popular here, kind of in the service industry and who you interact with, is going to be Indonesian. And so learning how to speak Indonesian, at least so I can be conversational. Again, I do not want to be the kind of person that just tries to encroach on other people's land where I'm simply just a visitor and say, well, you don't speak English, I can't work with you or talk to you or do business with you or understand you on your level. You got to adapt to me. That seems foolhardy. And so at least being able to converse, to read signs, to be able to hang on my own, and at least be able to speak some amount of Indonesian, which I've learned a very little bit thus far. But what's interesting is it's way easier than English, obviously, but it's easier than Spanish, which is what I learned in high school. We don't have all the gender stuff and the weird grammar and the weird rules. And so I think there's a real beauty to getting yourself out of where you live now, throwing yourself into the deep end, into a new culture, into a new way of life, breaking your frame of what you think life has to look like, being a visitor in a foreign land, being out of your comfort zone, and ultimately giving yourself the opportunity to create a clean slate in your life. The people that I'm most inspired by are the folks that are 70 years old that decide that they're going to become a professional scuba diver, or they're going to learn how to fly planes, or they're going to go work at a hospital, or whatever it may be. They're consistently reinventing themselves. That is a life well lived, in my opinion. To adopt different worldviews and to stretch your beliefs and to see life from different perspectives, to me, is beautiful. And that's one of the coolest things that this business provides for you. If you can just stay diligent for the next year or two and set yourself up to live such an interesting life, that is worth its weight in gold. That is worth more than any amount of money in your bank account. I can't just encourage it enough. Like, if you have that opportunity and you don't have dependence yet, do it. Jump into the deep end, please. All right, guys, let's talk about some business land stuff. So we've been doing some really cool deals in our business, and we just brought on a new AM who's a killer, an absolute killer. And I have talked about this before, but I'm often reminded the difference between an A player and the difference between a B player is exponential. The difference in performance and results in communication and integration to the team is not even, it's not even related. And what I found is so much of that comes from the hiring and selection process. Training matters, but I swear to God, you're never going to turn a C plus or a B minus player into an A player, an A plus player. It don't happen. And this new person that we brought on has made that so starkly apparent. I mean, within their first 2 days of being on the phones, they had already gotten their first deal. That's A player behavior, and their communication and how they navigate integrating with the team is just like, whoa. And so if you're going through the process of hiring people right now, remember that so much of the work happens on the front end. It's twofold. One, it's the selection. It's also the understanding that you are going to have to turn through team members to find that right cultural fit and to find that A-plus player. And so it's like, rarely do you hire once and find a key person. You hire 10 times, you let go of 7, and 3 are the winners. 3 stick around. The math probably looks something like that, and as you get better, your selection process gets better, maybe the ratio improves for you. But I see so many land investors that have like a bunch of rotten apples in their business, and ultimately it's because of lack of awareness. It's because this faulty notion that they can train and change, it's limited. There's only so much that you can do there. And it's also like being a victim of convenience. Well, I hired them, they're already in the business, they're kind of producing, so I'll just keep them around, right? No, not the case in my opinion. Again, I've been reminded of that. I've also been reminded though, I don't know how to frame this. I've been reminded that it takes years to get to this place, but there is a place where your business becomes its own living entity, and it's so cool. So I've been going through this experiment recently, where there's two key players on our team, Newman and Aries, within our land business. They've been with us for eons. They are the true representation of an A-plus player. But not all A-plus players are going to have experience leading. That's a whole different skill set, right? I do think that the leadership thing can be cultivated. Most people just aren't out of the box super proficient at it. There's definitely a learning curve. And so we've been going through this process of doubling our lead flow, going from 300s to maybe 250 to 350 leads a month in our CRM, to 600, 700, or maybe even 1,000 leads a month coming into our land business. And I've been going through this amazing process. And honestly, it'd probably be worth documenting this on its own as kind of a cool case study where I have had them spearhead that entire process. I said, look at guys, this is the goal. It's on you. Here are the key things that I think are relevant. These are the steps, the cadence that we'll have to go through to achieve this doubling. I'll tell you guys what it is. But this is 100% on your guys' shoulders. If you hit roadblocks, come find me. Otherwise, I'm putting my full confidence in you. I'm not interviewing the people. I'm not going and reviewing the applications. I'm not doing the training. That is on your guys' plate. And you have to give your team the chance to swing for the fences. You have to give your team the chance to sink or swim. And again, we've been working 5 years to get to this point, so I wouldn't say that this is going to happen overnight. But thus far, they are certainly swimming, and it's been an incredible process to watch. And I talked about this at our event. I said, the land business inherently isn't fulfilling, but one of the most fulfilling things is seeing your team members rise to the occasion of what their role demands of them. And that's beautiful. Because what you don't see behind the scenes is the mountain of personal development that they had to go through personally to get there. It wasn't like, oh, I just learned the system of how to hire people. No, you had to become the kind of person that could handle that. And that required you to stretch as a human being. And if you ask any of these guys, they would say the same thing. They say, I become a better person because of this. Like, it literally has impacted them on a personal level. And goddamn, is that fulfilling. That's beautiful, in my opinion. That makes this whole land flipping thing certainly worth it. And that's a ripple effect that is more potent than just a paycheck. So here's the roadmap that we've been going through. Obviously, the first thing we have to do is double our marketing. Duh. Okay, that's obvious. So to do that, we need the right marketing people in place. A lot of this doubling is happening in a few places. It's a doubling of our texting, and it's a doubling of our cold emailing. So we're going to about 125,000 texts a month and over 100,000 cold emails a month. Mail still staying the same. And we're really kind of back slotting that to very niche, particular sniper-esque type campaigns. There's a few other marketing channels that we use kind of in conjunction, but we usually use those like once they're inside our CRM. So those are what we're using for our cold acquisition. So we had to get the right butts in those seats. Okay? They've done all the hiring, the training, all of that. The next thing is we need new acquisition talent and we need better acquisition talent. Cool. They handle all of that. They've brought on our new A player, Eva, who's amazing. It's all on them. The next thing is a full-time underwriter. That's kind of the next stage that we're working on actively, is bringing someone in to where they're underwriting all of these, 600 or 1,000 leads that we're getting. So our AM's time is exclusively being spent on the phones and nowhere else. The last step from there, which is probably 6 months out, is bringing on like an appointment setter. So someone who's going to do the initial touch to set those appointments, or, and we've done that few and far between. We don't have enough data to support it. If that's the path, there might be a case to be made that it's actually more valuable to have your AM manage that lead cradle to grave, but then have the appointment setter in quotes go and revive old leads. So I can't speak on that clearly yet. We've done both, but limited sample sizes. And so that's the doubling that we're going through. That will get us to doing 12 to 20 contracts a month. Right now we're averaging about 7 to 10 contracts a month. And so super excited. It's a really big change for us. I'm not only excited to double the business, but I'm also just excited for seeing people rise to the occasion. There's a lot more that you can find fulfilling in the land business. Again, I talked about in my presentation. We'll be releasing all of the guest speaker lectures for purchase. We $399 for folks that want to get access to all the lectures from the mastermind. But the fulfillment of this business comes from your team. And to be totally honest, in 2023, I hit a wall in terms of time, and I hit a wall in terms of wanting to grow the business more, right? Honestly, last year we kind of hit a standstill. We did well, but I hit a standstill. I didn't have the energy. I had lost a lot of that excitement. And honestly, it's because I was going around growth the wrong way. Growth was still hyper hinged on me. Even though we had a killer team, I ultimately had the final say on everything. And so what I had to do is reorientate where I'm finding fulfillment, train my team up, get them to rise to the occasion, let them go and grow it. And the weirdest thing has happened. Not only has it taken me out of the equation for growth, it's also renewed this vigor, this burning excitement to want to grow this thing, because I'm seeing the impact on a people-to-people level, on a person-to-person. And to me, that matters way more than just getting more contracts or doing more deals. So that's been super gratifying, super fun. We've got some really exciting deals that we're working on. I've got a really cool one last week. Funnily enough, it's the deal that slipped through the cracks. So we have someone on our team that goes and reviews every single person inside of our CRM. Because what we find is that our team is so in the trenches on the acquisition side that inherently they miss things, right? They have blinders on. And so there was a phenomenal deal that got missed in September. They were engaging it. They hit a kind of a standstill. They gave up on it. We said, whoa, there's something here. Brought it back on their plate. One of our AMs just got the contract back last week. We're buying it for $260,000, 60 acres. We're chopping it up into about 6 lots, but we're controlling the property at 10% down. So $26,000 out of pocket to control the property. And we'll sell it for about $450,000, maybe $500,000 on a really good day. It's a really nice property. So yeah, some really cool deals that we're working on like that right now. Some more advanced stuff. We've got a really crazy, potentially $500,000 double close that we've been working on for 2 years. And honestly, this thing keeps on going out. It's such a shame. One of my favorite things in this land business is seeing long-term deals come across the finish line. To me, that's like a health metric for our land business that shows me that our team is putting their time in the right areas. I always tell my team, you get paid in proportion to knowing where to spend your time. Spend your time in the right places. Now, the right place doesn't always mean that it has the shortest sales cycle. The right kind of allocation of time, first and foremost, means that the prospect has a real why. We understand their why behind selling. There's a problem that we can actually solve for them. So once we know that, we're going to stay in the fight. On top of that, there's a real reason that they're not going to list it themselves or handle it themselves, right? So the why kind of ties into why they want to hit the easy button. And there's enough spread to justify the time invested. And that's where you get these outsized, outlandish, outlier type deals. And I see a lot of land investors that the majority of their deals are the lowest hanging fruit, and they rarely are getting those grand slams because the grand slams inherently have longer sales cycles. And so for me, I want to see that a majority of our contracts that we're getting every month, those leads are older than at least 30 days inside of our CRM. And that typically is the case for us. Now, we had a freak situation last month where it was inverted. A vast minority of our deals were older than 30 days, and almost all of them were newer. And those were some of the worst deals that we've gotten all year. Now, they're okay deals. Probably collectively about $150,000 in gross profit for those deals, but like nothing monumental, right? Nothing that's like earth-shattering. And I see that as a one-to-one correlation. So we're going for the lowest hanging fruit. We're typically also going for the worst deals. Typically those deals, we run into more challenges with the sellers, or there's more weird things that come up to haunt us later into the deal cycle. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah. And it's also really cool, like on the note of our team evolving, seeing them achieve their personal goals. Newman, who works with us, he loves motorcycles. He's a car guy, he's a motorcycle guy. He recently bought his dream motorcycle. Right? He had a big deal that closed. He made a really nice commission check on it. Bought his dream motorcycle. Then had some more deals closed, made some more money, and sold that one and bought his next dream motorcycle a month later. Now, I mean, material things, whatever, but it's also fucking cool to see your team achieve those little goals that they get to check off. And that's meaningful to me. That really means the world to me. Like, I don't know. That means way more to me than me checking off some superficial material goal on my own side. And of course, I still have them. I want a nice house, and I'm actually building my own custom motorcycle right now. I'm actually meeting the designer later today. It's a really cool shop. So they take modern motorcycles. I forget the exact motorcycle I'm getting. I think it's a Yamaha kind of hybrid street bike type motorcycle. I forget the exact make and model. It's 400 cc, so it's not super big, but by Bali standards, that's pretty damn big. Most of the motorcycles here are about 150 cc's because the roads are small. So 400 cc's for this area is plenty of power. And that's actually probably the fastest bike I've ever ridden. So they start with this modern motorcycle, and then you get to kind of pick the direction that you want to go with it. So I'm doing a kind of an old school cafe racer build, all with this British racing green. So really cool British racing green on the motorcycle. I'll take some pictures of it once I receive it. So the bike, they already have the bike that I want. It's already built. We just need to go in and do a custom paint job, and I can't wait. So cool. So yeah, look, I still have those goals myself. But no, it just matters way more when you see your team achieve those things. And super gratifying. Oh man, what else? What else is exciting in my neck of the woods? Well, I've been talking about this very loosely, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. We've had a lot of folks, well, first off, let me back up. One of the things that I'm doing here next year is I'm flying out all my team members from all the different businesses, or just about all of them. I don't know if everyone will be able to make it. But we'll probably have about 15 people from the different businesses come out. So we won't have everyone, we'll have a good amount of people come out, spend 2 weeks together, get a big villa, work together, hang out, have fun, adventure. Now, at the same time, I've had a lot of folks inside of Leah and even outside of Leah saying, Sumner, if you host an event in Bali, I'll be there. A week of true masterminding, a week of adventure, I'm there. Now, it would be high ticket. It would be limited. It wouldn't be for everyone. There definitely would be a kind of a cutoff for where you have to be in your land business to curate the group. But I'm thinking about merging that. Like, hey, we'll have 25 people fly out. You get to hang out with me and my team. We get a mastermind. We'll rent a really cool hotel. Everyone will have their own room. We'll snorkel, go island hopping, go out, check the nightlife, hike the volcanoes, ride motorcycles together, surf together. I think that would be awesome. And I've probably had about 20 people saying, without a shadow of a doubt, I'll be there. Now, again, it would not be cheap. Probably about $5,000 per person. Because the facility, it would be expensive to rent a whole entire hotel. But on top of that, also, you're talking about extreme access that no one else would get. No one else has had access to work with me and my team and that level of proximity for that amount of time. I can guarantee you that you will walk away not only a better land investor, but probably just a better entrepreneur. And I think those are the meta skills that pay dividends, that can 10x your business. And I think also, it's one thing to hear stuff from me, like that's cool. But I think also interfacing with our team, like interfacing with our acquisition managers and our operators, that actually might even be more impactful than anything else. To sit down with one of our AMs like Jordan and say, Jordan, dude, how do you do this? Like, what's working for you? And picking up those little nuggets that I'm probably not even aware of myself. I don't know, I think that could be really interesting. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. If that would be of interest to you, you can leave a comment down below. I already tentatively have the hotel picked out. It's waterfront, comes with these beautiful rooms with infinity pools overlooking the ocean. It has private gyms, 2 restaurants on site, all organic food, farm to table food, ice baths, sauna. There's a really good surfing break right in front of it. There's fun nightlife. They have little parties and stuff like that there. It's called Commune. And I think it would be an amazing place to do it. And yeah, it's not cheap by any means, but I think we could put together something pretty incredible. So yeah, guys, what else? What else? Well, Yeah, look at wherever you're at in life right now. Hopefully, I sincerely hope on some level I can help you. Whether it's just from these YouTube videos, whether it's inside of our Discord, whether it's inside of Leah, I hope that on some level I'm providing value. I think about it a lot. I think I provide value in ways that are maybe different. Like I used to make a lot of like hard-nosed educational videos. Here's how you do it A, B, and C. And I've started kind of revealing more who I am as a person and trying to tell stories, things that I've learned. And I hope that's valuable. I really do. Because if it's not valuable, I don't know why the hell I'm doing this. And if you're inside of Leah, I hope I'm of value to you. I hope I'm able to serve you. Because ultimately, I started doing this 2 years ago because I wanted to help. I really do. Like, I feel like on some level it was my calling. Not that I'm special in any ways, but I feel like it was my calling to work with people. I draw so much energy from it. It's so meaningful in my life. And if there's anything I can do to serve you in a bigger way at a higher level, let me know. Whether you're inside of Leah, whether you're watching these videos, whether you come to one of our events, I'm here for you guys.